Alright, what's up, little dudes? Welcome back to Duty's Daggers. We're doing a little bit of a double review today of some pretty impressive Ganzo knives here. First of all, please subscribe if you haven't already. If you don't know, if this is your first time watching a Duty's Daggers video, I would just say that it's a really awesome channel. People seem to really love it, and I think you will too. So go ahead and subscribe. Also, Instagram, Duties_Daggers. Says it right there. So, Ganzo, this is a budget knife brand. If you've ever looked up EDC knives on Amazon, you've probably seen some Ganzos. Um, Now, I need to say right off the bat, they do have a few designs that are kind of rip-offs from other popular knives. And I won't buy those. I don't touch those. I don't think that's a good thing to do or a good thing to support. But these two here are their own unique designs. They're their own in-house designs. They're not copies or rip-offs of anything else. Um, and I've, like I said, been really impressed with them. So let's check them out. This top one here is the Ganzo FH12. You see it right there in D2 blade steel. And this is the full stainless steel version, stone-washed stainless steel. You can get it in G10 as well. I bought this one because I don't know. I like full stainless. You know, if I can't have titanium, this is a pretty cool option. And I kind of wanted to possibly do some modifications to this. I was thinking about chopping it and making it kind of like a mini version, and having the stainless steel will just be easier to do that. The bottom one here is the Ganzo FH922, 922 in D2 as well. Both extremely smooth. Let's do some measurements. Let's do this one first. The Ganzo FH12. We have a blade length. If we're going from the tip right here on the scale to the tip of the blade, we got 3.5 inches. Handle is 4 5/8, and then overall just about 8 inches exactly. Just about. And then let's do the FH922. Blade length 3 3/4. Or sorry, that was wrong. 3 3/8 I meant. Handle 4 1/4. Overall about 7 5/8 inch. So both full-size knives, not small, not huge, full size I would say. And let's measure the thickness behind the edge of these guys, because this one feels very thin. This one also very thin. This one feels a little bit, well, I don't know, I can't tell. Let's find out. So just for frame of reference, you know, the thickness behind the edge is this measurement here. If you go right behind the edge bevel, it's the thickness, this thickness here. And the thinner it is, the slicier the blade's going to be. The thicker it is, the more robust, but the less slicey it's going to be. For example, the thick side of the spectrum would be like a hinderer. That would be somewhere around like 26 thousandths behind the edge. Benchmade Griptilian, another thick one, almost like 28 thousandths behind the edge, 29. And then something like, I don't know, the Baby Banter is around 16 thousandths behind the edge. So that's on the thinner side. I think the thinnest in my collection is like 10 thousandths. So that's very thin. Let's see where we're at. On this one here, the FH922, we'll take 3 measurements, one right in front of the sharpening choil. Right there we've got 18 thousandths. Okay, cool. At the middle, 17 thousandths. At the tip, ooh, it's even thinner. Well, maybe. Yeah, 14 thousandths right there at the tip. That's great. That's a nice slicey blade. That is perfect. And then let's see where we're at on this one. Back here, we are at 17 there. 16 thousandths there. At the tip, it gets a little wider at 24 thousandths at the tip. So this one gets thicker towards the tip. This one gets a little thinner towards the tip. So there you go. I think that's perfectly good for an EDC knife. I think anywhere from like 10 being very, very thin to like, I don't know, 18 thousandths, I think that's a good range. Between 12 and 18 is very, very good for a nice slicey EDC blade. So that's awesome. Size comparisons. Let's do a couple here. I'll just put these like that, and then we'll put the comparison knife in the middle of them. How about the Kubi Kois? Whoopsie. How about CJRB Pyrite? There you go. And then let's see. Let's do Kaiser Mini Beg Lighter. Two more. I should have got these out beforehand. Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and Hogue Deca. There you go. That should give you a pretty good idea of what we're dealing with size-wise. Put these back. Okay, let's talk about these guys here. Let's go over this stainless steel one first because I've had it a little bit longer. Let's look at the construction. So full stainless steel, nice stonewash on it. Let me let the dog in really quick. He's whining. Come on. So full stainless steel construction, nicely stonewashed. It's a bit heavy since it's all stainless, but it's not overly heavy. It's not like crazy heavy. Kind of a pretty rectangular handle with a little bit of a point back there. Almost reminds me of like a coffin-esque sort of shape. The blade is pretty much like a straight back. I think the tip does kind of drop down a little bit. You'd probably call this a drop point with a significant belly. This is not my favorite blade shape for EDC. This is quite a bit more belly than I usually like. To get to the tip for utility cuts, you really got to raise your wrist up pretty high to get to it. So this is not an ideal blade shape for EDC for me, for my uses at least. But it works fine. The blade steel is D2 with that same nice stonewash on it. Really does look nice. We got a nice fat swedge up there. The sharpening choil plunge grind, not great. You see you have a tiny little bit of room there for sharpening. Not very much. We saw the thinness behind the edge. The blade stock is not overly thin, but you can see we have the swedge up here. Thins it down quite a bit, so that's going to help with slicing. I haven't done a cut test video with this yet. I do plan on doing, I think this week, I'm probably going to do a double cut test with both of these. So look for that coming up probably Monday or Tuesday. Depending on when this video comes out. It should be a few days after the video comes out. The pocket clip is inset. Didn't use flat-headed screws though. But you still have pretty good clearance in there for your pocket seam. I do like the clip okay. It works fine, relatively low profile. I think it looks all right. Lock bar relief cut. The clip is resting like kind of halfway, a little less than halfway on the scale and then on that lock bar relief cut, but it's not resting on the lock bar itself at all. You can see it's off of the surface there. So that's the construction. I have noticed that the lock bar is pretty sensitive. If you put a little bit of pressure on the opposite side as you're trying to flip the knife, you're going to slip off because you're locking yourself out. You have to really make sure that you're off the lock bar when you go to flip this knife. And that's one of the things I didn't like about it. Fucky, what are you doing? Hang on. Get out of there. That's one thing that bothers me about the knife is sometimes I go to flip it and I slip off because I'm accidentally putting pressure on the lock bar. If you're not putting pressure on the lock bar, this is a pretty nice snappy detent. I gotta say, it really is. And look how smooth the drop is. I mean, geez. This is better action than some of my like $100 knives and $100 knives and over. I mean, it's just, look at that. So smooth. We are running on bearings in there. I mean, look at that. It's just nuts. If you want to feel what a nice drop shut action feels like, buy this knife. It was pretty drop shut right out of the box, but over the course of a few days, it really got extremely drop shut. And there's zero blade play. This is rock solid. So that's really nice. That's not always easy to achieve, to get this type of action with absolutely zero blade play. That's not easy, apparently. Maybe it is easy, and a lot of companies just choose not to do it. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. Whatever the reason is, you don't see that all too often. So, overall, on this knife, not a huge fan of the blade shape. Not a huge fan of the design overall, actually. But action, really amazing. Nice snappy detent. Thin behind the edge. It'll be a good slicer. Ergos are pretty good. I don't feel the clip that much at all. Pointer finger kind of rests right in this little notch pretty nicely. I don't feel any hot spots right off the gate. You know, all the edges are chamfered around there, so yeah, we do have a G10 backspacer as well, lanyard post. So there you go. Now let's talk about this guy. I like this one more. This is the FH922, and I like it more than this one. Construction. We have full stainless steel liners that are milled out for weight relief on the inside. G10 scales with actually a really nice texture on them. Kind of a rougher, or at least like wider spaced, I guess, texture, which I really like. Kind of a milled out slot on the scale, similar to what Ray Laconico likes to do on his knives, which is interesting. We have, you know, a D2 blade with a belt satin instead of the stonewash we see on this one. And I think that looks really nice. Really nice full flat grind with kind of a nice fat swedge up here, kind of in this little humped area of the blade. I think the finish on this blade looks really nice. I'm a fan of it. I wish we didn't have this little hump right here. I think it would have looked a little better if they would have just come straight and then down to the point. In fact, I might kind of modify this blade shape a little bit. I might take this to the belt sander and just take out this little hump. I think it would look a little better, but it's really not that bad. Wire clip on this guy that works really good. It's inset in there, and we actually have a filler tab on the show side for the wire clip, which is it's cool, man. I very rarely do you see that filler tab for a wire clip. I think that's an extra little touch that they did. I think that's cool. The flipper tab has a hole in it, which you know, doesn't really serve a purpose. It's not like you're gonna put a lanyard on it or anything like that. It's just for looks. And this flipper tab is really comfortable, more comfortable than this one by far. It's rounded. There's really nice grabby jimping on the top right there. A lot of leverage. And this thing is a pleasure to flip. It really is. I have found myself grabbing this knife recently to fidget with while I'm watching a movie or whatever. It's just fun to flip, man. And the closing action is so smooth. It's just fun. It's a fun fidgety knife, and you wouldn't really think that it would be. At least I didn't think it would be. But it's fun to flip, man. It's fun to watch it just glide shut. By the way, guys, these knives are both under 30 bucks. I think this one's around 25 and this one's like 27. I'll put links to both of them down below. I think the quality that you're getting for that money is excellent here. So yeah, I should have said that sooner, the prices of these guys. So that's pretty much the construction. We have also a G10 backspacer here and a lanyard hole instead of the post that we have on this one. Ergonomics, also very good, similar kind of just a little cutout there for your pointer finger and a pretty neutral handle aside from that. The edges on this one are a little bit more rounded off, so I would say ergonomically this is a bit better. Also, it's a little bit of a thicker handle, so it just fills out your grip a little bit nicer. Feels a little bit more comfortable in your hand. As far as the blade shape goes, I like this blade shape over this one as well. Just a lower tip. You're not raising your wrist all that high to really get to it. Pretty good, like spear point-ish blade, drought point. Still a decent amount of belly, but not as much as on the FH12 here. So you can see the differences right there. So yeah, overall, I like this one better, the FH922. I like the 922 a little bit better. You can get this G10 in a bunch of different colors too, like orange, black, all kinds of colors, green, whatever. This is a good knife, man. I think I'm going to carry this, I feel like I'm going to carry it and enjoy using this. Now, I'm not sure about the quality of the D2. I've never heard anything overly negative about Ganzo's heat treatments, but we will find out. We're going to do the cut test with both of these. We'll see how the edge retention is. We'll see how it feels on the stones, how quickly it drops back. We'll find all that out in the cut test video. But so far carrying this, I've only carried a few days. I haven't noticed anything alarming, no red flags really. So I've carried this one for about 4 days, and then I've just fidgeted and messed around with it for quite a while. Almost 2 weeks now. Same with this one. So yeah, I look forward to the cut testing video. I feel like they're going to do well. They're both nice and thin behind the edge, and, full flat grinds with the swedges. I think they're going to cut pretty well, but we'll find out. Both are perfectly centered, by the way. I already mentioned that one was locked up solid. This one the same way, absolutely rock solid. Look at that smooth action, baby. Lock bar access is great. It's just nice, man. You get a nice satisfying click too when it snaps out. Nothing worse than a knife where you go to flick it and it's just kind of it doesn't make much of a sound. There's no like nice click. I hate that. So, Ganzo. They have got a lot of models. Like I said, I would stay away from their models that are like a blatant ripoff from other knives. You'll see a few Ontario rat sort of ripoffs. You'll see like a rat with an axis or a bar lock. You'll see some kind of like Spyderco-ish looking knives. I would personally stay away from those. You do whatever you want. But they also have quite a few original designs. And while they might be relatively simple, a lot of them, at least judging from the few I've handled, and especially these two, they've got their detents dialed. They've got the smoothness of their action is very impressive. And they seem to be just quality knives overall for the price. So I plan to get more Ganzo knives in the future, There's times where I can't afford a more expensive knife, but I got that itch, I got that knife buy an itch. And a lot of times I'll pick up a Ganzo or a Rough Rider sometimes. You really can't go wrong, with the amount of positive reviews that I've heard about these Ganzos and the price being 25 to 30 bucks, What can go wrong, really, So, that's about it, folks. The dog's whining. He needs to go for a WALK. And I love you guys. Please like the video before you bounce. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace and love. Adios, dudes.